Okay. All right, guys. So this is a non-duality, just an add-in. I didn't want to take up your whole class time doing this, but I thought this would kind of help. I know we have feminine and we have a masculine side of our brain, and it is very important that, like, when we're in our spiritual journey, it is really kind of 90% visual. And we are working in that side of the brain. But when we start to incorporate that divine masculine back in the embodiment of it, like embodying the spirituality, like doing, it's the masculine is very visual. Okay, so I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I will create these. And I have hundreds of these, but this one is very specific because what we've been doing a lot this year is we are mastering the art of non-duality, which means that we're not in a dualistic nature with ourselves, that we are not in a war with our circumstances or our bodies. And the entire year we're spending to take the situation or the circumstance or the matrix and figure out, okay, it's just a chess game, right? And it's like, take nothing personally. It's just like when you look at a basketball like team, you may, if you're not through it either state and you don't have any beef or rival, you're like, good game, right? You're looking at them equal counterparts. And when we're diving into mastering the art of creating not only your new reality, guys. If you're here to just create a guy or girl, you're probably not following me. If you want a whole overhaul, like you're tired of bittersweet manifestations, you're tired of 10 steps forward, 10 steps back, if you're tired of getting kind of sort of what you want, if you're tired of losing what you manifest, if you're tired of the people that you manifest not being who you wanted them to be, if you're tired of getting ghosted, if you're tired of, chasing money and trying to figure out why you don't have what you have, if you are no longer driven by fear, then you are probably following me because you're just like sick and tired of the game. You're like, uncle, white flag. But it doesn't work that way because this diagram that I presented for you right now is the game that you are playing. And 3D is considered purgatory because 3D is where energy is made manifest. Okay, so a thought, a feeling, a deed, all mixed together, that is like the triangle of it is done. So it is realized. And when we come from the spirit plane or heaven or wherever you want to call it, our spirit does, and we come into density, we have experiences that become dense. And the reason why everything doesn't manifest instantly here is because it would be completely chaotic and there would be no train of thought. There would be no script. Okay, there would be no road to travel. So the subconscious mind becomes the script. It becomes the road. It becomes the program. All right. So let's say the original sin. We come down in as pure positive, God embodied, and we decide to separate from what we know of God and choose a desire that is in the mental world, and that gives the effect of disconnecting us from our source connection, or at least giving us the appearance of it. And so we become physically focused and we enter the realm of dependency and need and want on physical reality versus being fed by life source energy. And that becomes an anchor point and that becomes a road. All right, so that becomes density. And so your density that stacks up on top of each other becomes your karma. It becomes your baggage. And then it's like it remains. So your baggage is going to stay in the third dimensional reality until you integrate all of it. All of it. And who knows how many incarnations your particular baggage has been enslaved in the third dimensional reality. So it's almost like we come down as perfect little children, we get distracted by a snake or an apple or whatever, and we choose that experience that separates us from our connection. And then because we get so dependent on this and we're trying to get back to this, but we keep going into physical reality, we begin to stack our density up, and it creates patterns and programs and rituals, and it gives us the appearance of a linear reality. But what we're doing is we're spiraling in our own unique template that was created through circumstances and events that caused us to choose with or without our consent, right? Because a lot of the times you're choosing things that you're not necessarily, with your life force energy and the authority of God within you, are choosing. Like, you're not choosing that, but because the absence of your consciousness was present at the time, then it became a choice. So there's like manifesting, and then there's deliberate manifesting. All right. There is imagination, and there is deliberate imagination. There is the imagination that is in the memory centers, and there is imagination that is in the future realities. And so at this time, when we begin to wake up, you're going to realize is that it's a completely new template. Like, the kingdom of heaven is within you, right? So you have everything. Your entire biological suit is every single thing that you would need to manifest your reality with your imagination. So what are you imagining is going to be if your soul gets heavier and denser here. Because here's the thing, ultimately, it's still yours. Just like spiritual people are like, oh, body, I don't want this body. It's still yours. And so therefore you are completely responsible for. So anything that the physical embodiment produces a result that isn't life force energy that moves into neutrality and back into particles, it's like ice, water, steam, anything that hardens or solidifies from loss, from the experience of failure, from the experience of humiliation, experience of doubt, experience of guilt, shame, resentment, it hardens and it becomes baggage. Okay. So a lot of these experiences that we had before our 7th year, because our brain was in this neutral, creative, imaginary state called theta, we weren't necessarily like, no, I don't believe that I'm not rich. I don't believe that I have to be like you. I don't believe that I can't dance. I don't believe, like, we didn't have any debate. We were literally maybe cringing and crying and tantruming, but ultimately we had to submit to the template. Okay. And as soon as we submitted to the template, and not entirely, because again, your conscious awareness and your super consciousness are never actually truly a part of this. So they are always like looking at your reality like, why is it the way it is? Because they're not necessarily living it. Your unconscious is the baggage or the soul like programs that stay in this template until you have fully integrated everything. Okay. Now, when you have a death experience, that part of you that has never been conscious of this baggage has never left heaven, that resides in that plane and streaming to you is unchanged and completely in its purified state. Like, darn it, we were supposed to go down there and get our baggage and integrate it into love, and we forgot again, and it got heavier. Okay. And that's like the term old soul. It's not necessarily a compliment. It's like when you've been here so long, you're just like, get this over with. I always say it's like the turtle in never ending story. Just kill me, right? I've been here too long. I know too much. But that's kind of that experience. So I don't have a ton of time, and I don't want to make this a really long video. But ultimately, your consciousness of spirituality and the consciousness of where and what your soul is experiencing, it really needs to become more one, which means if you really want to know where your karmic baggage of duality resides, well, it's in every part of your reality. It's not like it's from the 18th century and you're going to have to go into some hypnotic experience to find it. No, it's happening now. It's in your relationships, it's in your money, it's in your body, it's in your past, it's in your scared future, it's in all of it, and it's in the assumptions and the anticipations. So the thing is the more that we avoid our reality, right, the heavier we get. The more that we are hurt by our reality, the heavier we get. The more that we are enslaved by reality, the heavier we get. And so again, when you have that death experience, the baggage and the memory and the work remains in its dense space, because it's third dimension. It's not, it's matter. So your trauma is actually a form of matter. It's percolating and alive, but it's in kind of that ice, very cold, locked. Like when you look at someone who won't change their belief systems, and you're like, they're cold and pessimistic and critical, and that's what it is. And so this is why you manifest the exact family that you manifest, because you're going to always return to the frequency and the very storyline that will best help you move into alignment of the soul's programming, so that you, from that pure positive state of source energy, can begin to integrate that. So it's almost like we have to go back into the hell we left, go back into the mess we left, and we got to clean it up. And we come into the template that has been basically built out of lost souls. Okay, this is third dimensional reality is considered hell as far as the universe goes, but on Earth contains fourth dimension, fifth dimension, sixth, all the way up to 12 dimensions can be housed on Earth. So it's not like Earth is hell. There is a dimension that we are playing in this template as creative beings who can make energy manifest, right? And in this particular template. So there's a lot more going on in parallel situations, but let's focus on your story, your fertilizer, what you came for. Okay. And so I want you to take a look at this diagram, and you're probably looking at it and it makes no sense until I explain it, but that's the point. I wanted you to get a visual on this. So although we are in the grand template of lost souls, and the whole agenda here is to get more of your soul, get more of your essence, get more of you. Okay. Because the more of the soul that they can have, the more that they can create with that baggage, more of this template. And the spirit that fuels your body, okay, is both soul and spirit. So let's look at the body, and I teach a lot about this in quantum fitness, but your blood represents spirit, okay? And your lymphatic system represents soul, right? And notice how the spirit has its own pump. Emotions and feelings get the blood pumping, get it moving, right? When they say your blood runs cold, when your blood's running hot, there's like metaphors of that. And if you look at the plasma part, that is the trash, okay? That is the purification system that does not have its own pump. So if you look at the soul, it's like it does not have its own pump. It is not distracted by what is necessarily happening outside, because it's literally just all the containments that have always been, but because it's still a part of you, it 100% is affected with law of attraction, because it's vibrating the story of your baggage. Okay, so like, let's say, let's give the analogy in 3D. Let's say like your baggage goes missing for like 3 or 4 months, and you're going overseas, and you have food in there, right? You got secret stuff in there that you don't want anybody to know about. You got dirty underwear in there, right? You got clean clothes. You've got like pictures of your kids. It's like you've got all this stuff, but your baggage goes missing forever, and you finally get it back. Okay. And you're like, oh my gosh, my stuff. But you forget that now it's like you're going to open it up, and it's not going to be fresh food in there. It's not going to be, those underwear are like turning into something else. And, you know, the pictures of your kids are all crinkled up, and, you know, there's some clean clothes, but the residue of the clean clothes have literally like been tainted by sitting in some storage unit for months. And now your job is to come and unpack it and then repack it how you want. So looking at the idea of baggage, that would be your template. And so now thinking about that template, there's your template, and then there's the 3D template. And if we are not deliberately creating and using our Imagineering, and we are working constantly in our thought rehab, and we are not affirming through embodiment, then what is going to happen is through the intoxication and hypnotic, see the swirl, experience of the larger template, The whole point is to get your template to look like the big matrix template, because now it's just adding. Like you look at that big eyeball in Las Vegas, it's like, I think it's 18 or 25 by 25 inch LED screens. And each one of them is singular and can show its own movie. But when they put it all together, right, that is like the desire of the 3D template, is that all the LED screens, you and everyone else, are all projecting one image to make oneness. Okay. Now, on the flip side of that, divine creation itself, God, is the exact same scenario, and put together, it is all oneness of the God that is creation. And the God that houses and runs this particular template is in fact a lost soul. All right. So your soul, your belief systems, your programs, your behaviors, your desires, your unfulfilled needs and wants, your heartbreak, your trauma, your failures, your loss, your grief, right? Because it's lowest, heaviest vibration. That's why Quantum Fitness Part 1 is called Wait and Waiting, because you're waiting for your life to change. And so you start to get heavy, whether that's embodied or not. All right. So I have been working on this for a very long time, because I knew from a very young age I was supposed to get the heck out of Dodge. And I knew that I didn't want to create my own little happy world in this matrix. I wanted to create my own world. And I don't know why I've known that my whole life, but I have. And again, when you know that, right, the template starts to say, hey, she's showing a different image over here that's going to mess up our whole game. So instead of there was one big eyeball, like I'm over here, like, right, it's like, that's not going to work. So the name of 3D game is integrate all into unity of lost soul consciousness. And so the death, spirit of death, which is the God of loss, it's the God of hate, it's the God of suffering, it's the God of pain, it's the God of this, because it's a lost soul itself. And it's been collecting souls for thousands of years, and it has created this big template. Okay. And so when you come in from source energy, all perfect and purified, like you always do, you're going to be matched with the DNA, the bloodline, the situation, the circumstances, the biological parents, everything that you need to basically rendezvous with your baggage. Okay. And a lot of people call it karma, but ultimately this baggage has been left alone for so long that it's like a living, breathing entity. It's got patterns and programs and desires. And that's why you can see children at 6 or 7 months old, fighting and being negative. And it's not like, that kid was not being abused, but again, it's going to have that natural template. And then whatever is happening around them is going to match with what old trauma is sitting in the karmic baggage, and it's going to come alive. Okay. But see, the part of you that remains in heaven all the time, which is the source energy within you, which is the God of creation, the God of love, joy, bliss, gratitude, celebration, kindness, joy, forgiveness, just all of these amazing things, it is never, ever going to truly identify with what is happening down here. And so there's this natural discord that begins to happen. And a lot of times, the more you go on your spiritual journey, the more you kind of like leave your baggage behind, or attempt to leave your baggage behind. But what I've always said is, what you are running away from you is running into you. It's chasing you. So look at the diagram. So how do we get trapped here once we are aware of this? Because many of my students are very aware of this scenario that is happening here on the bigger picture. And if you are literally like, I don't just want a little bit of a better life, I want my own template, it's really not that much harder. It's actually easier for you to go all the way than half-ass this. Because if you half-ass this, you're going to be like, in an orchestra that is playing that everything is dark and heavy. You're going to be trying to share that light of joy. You're not going to necessarily you're going to stick out like a sore thumb, but you're also going to be, you're going to feel even more separate. Okay. Because you haven't created a big enough template for yourself to find more people like you. And if you do, it feels like you're way spread away and you can't necessarily get to each other. This is all variables of this. So once you begin to take full responsibility for your baggage, which means like, okay, I'm unpacking this. This is when the ego integration begins, because ego is like the manager of all the third dimensional programs. It's making sure, it's like that one guy at work that's like micromanaging everyone, right? And it doesn't actually want the company to succeed because it has its own agenda. That's your ego. And once your body, which is, so when you actually grow your physical body, the DNA is going to match perfectly the soul construct of you. It's your memories. This is why like your body can have flashbacks from other timelines, because it's going through the soul to actually remember that. So the body DNA is half of that soul embodied, and it is half of that spirit that is brand new and limitless and creator. So that's why they say that our top 3 chakras are integration of heaven, right? That's why it's called head. And then the bottom 3 chakras are hell or heel or soul of the foot, right? And the heart is where the awareness is. So it's like the heart is that neutral awareness. I want everyone to win. I just want bliss. I want everyone to be happy. I forgive. I forget, right? Like it's in that mediator place, right? It's in that mediation state. And so when you are in the purgatory of third dimension, your bottom 3 chakras will be completely addicted and attuned and submitted to the big template and doing everything it can to create a template that looks like the big template, which means that although you're trying to create your reality and find the love of your life, the bottom 3 chakras are literally trying to get you into another narcissistic relationship through hope, through expectations, through need, through wants. Because as soon as you get up here into the higher heavens, there's no more needs or wants, because everything is already yours. And so that's where the new template has to be created. Okay. Your root is literally in the third dimensional template's jail. It is in soul jail. It is in cell mate. Your cells are cellmates to this template. And you don't believe that it's actually you, or part of you, stands for universe, that actually wants to be part of this template. It's like when you were little, there was a secret space in that you wanted to blend in and be like everyone else, but then you couldn't. So there is that innate primal desire to fit in and to be like everyone else. And then there is that spiritual space within you that's like, I want to be unique and shine. And so I want to have my own flavor and sauce. So there's that war right there. And so the more you have abandoned your body, okay, the more you have abandoned your body, the more that you believe that you are healing and saving and helping people. But what is actually happening is your soul is literally so separate from you that you don't even know that what you're manifesting is actually coming from you. You think you're being attacked. You think that the world is happening to you. But see, you can't experience anything else that is not in your soul program unless you go into the lab of Imagineering and you begin to pull from the memory of heaven. You begin to pluck on that desire and make manifest. So here's what really traps us. Okay, so you see the spiral, because the reason why is because that's a symbol of hypnosis. And like I said, you are never actually linearly getting the life you want if you haven't cleared your soul baggage. Because if you haven't cleared your soul baggage, you'll go in a spiral. You go excited, hot, happy, love bombing, breadcrumbing, attacks, judgment. Now you have to leave, or somebody gets hurt, and you start it all again. And this happens at work, with money, with your own body, and relationships. And you always think you're creating something new because you have that honeymoon effect, and you go up But then the dark night or the dark side of the moon of that particular hypnotic sphere happens, and the whole thing drops out, and you have to start over, and you have to start over. Or you're one of those people that just feel like, what's the point? I'm just going to stay in hell. And you stay in the relationship, but you secretly start over. So you stay and you don't leave, and you suck it up, and you just get sicker, and you get more bitter, and you get more lonelier, right? In the relationships or at the job. So you're never actually getting anywhere in any template. Okay, so the template is the video game. You're not getting out of the video game unless you've watched that Free movie, that movie Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, which I highly recommend, because he literally has to build a whole new video game in order to be himself, which is what we're doing. Okay, so you think that you're moving forward along, but if you take like really strong detective work and go look at your common denominators or your themes with money and relationships and health, you'll notice patterns that it always ends a certain way. And yes, you're getting better because you've been doing a lot of shadow work, and so things are getting better, but there's still that ingredient of that particular negative is always remaining at the end of that cycle. And again, it throws us into the dark night. And in the dark night of the soul, or in the darkness, we will have our grief experience. And so let's look at the top and bottom. Here's how you get trapped in the matrix template and in your soul's right now template that is a vibrational match to the main template. Okay, so if you look here, I have on one side, I have the past, and on the other side, I have the future. So you're in a box, okay? And it's governed by basically your identity. So actually, pride and fear are the only things keeping you in this template. Like, take a breath on that one. Pride and fear. That's it. And all the 7 deadly sins in the middle, but that's exaggeration, and that's basically just descriptions of the two. Okay, so you've got your past, all right, that you have survived, and you have the future, and your past and future are going to be part of the same loop if you do not work on the soul baggage, if you do not work on the template itself, if you do not work on your self concept, your self identity, your personalities of the aspects of all of you, which means all your potential, and then all of your weaknesses as well. So it's not just all your unlimitedness that's going to get you out of here. It's taking that unlimited blissful power and integrate it into the soul, because until the soul is integrated and purified, you don't become a new man, which is the secondary game where you're the Christ within and you build your own template. You build heaven on earth through your body. Your body is considered the soul. Okay, like the kingdom of heaven is within you, but it's the soul. So until you are the kingdom of heaven, you are the kingdom of hell, or whatever you're closely vibrating with, and your poor heart is like, I can't take this, right? Okay, so we've got the past and we've got the future. Most of your imagination in 3D is going to be spent playing over the past and fearing or worrying or hoping for the future. This is how you continue your own hypnotic link. When you have fake assumptions, when you have fake arguments, when you relive the past. And see, what you're taught in 3D is by doing that, you're protecting yourself. Okay, because if I think about the past and I think about what I'm going to do because of it, well, then I'm taking action, then I'm standing up for myself. All right, but that action, right, thought, word, deed, creates, see, you've got this square and then you've got the triangle that is, it is done, right, and is the alchemy of creation itself, and you got the eye in the middle, right? And that's what that thing in Vegas is. Okay, so just saying. So and the past and the future is not really, it's not really the problem. Okay, because until you've spent a few months or at least a month in Imagineering, all the basis of your self identity is always going to come from your past, always, because that's where you've been practicing being you the most, even if you don't like it. So most of your imagination is going to be pulled from your your memories in this template. That's why the desires that you have are in this template. Like you want that house over there. You want that person that keeps losing you and cheating on you, but you're obsessed with them. Like you're always choosing your desires from this template. And in this template, everybody's a lost soul. Okay. So you're going to have to go to a different template if you want different versions of the same people that are in this story, because again, it's you are creator. So you can bring everybody with you. You don't have to lose anybody here. Okay. And everybody at all aspects of your lost soul will actually be played through people, places, and things here, because you are projecting and reflecting your soul's programs into reality, giving you the visual that there's actually other people here. So how people treat you in the beginning of the relationship is your hope and desire of that love inside of you, and how the relationship ends is your soul baggage, always. Okay. So the most important part, if you guys want to exit the matrix, I'm going to tell you this, is the top and the bottom here. Okay. So let me ask you a question. When I shine, I am what? What happens to you when you truly shine? And when I say shine, let me see if I can get it over here. Excuse me. I got a cord over here. Okay, when I say shine, you guys, I don't mean stand on a stage and dance and wiggle. Okay, when I mean shine, I mean be like the very diamond that you are. Okay, this is the real you. Okay, and a lot of people want to take this, they want to kidnap it. This is why the children go missing, right? Because this is the true essence. This is who you are. You're rare, you're valuable, you're worthy in your natural state. And so when you are singing and dancing and performing, that is not the only time you shine, you guys. The greatest times that you shine is when you are vulnerable. Okay. So what happens to you when you shine, or when you are truly, truly vulnerable? This is where the template literally steps on your face, because you're acting and behaving in a way that doesn't fit the template. Okay, so let's say that sphere I said in the beginning, that is a template, it's all black. And then all of a sudden, you are like doing this. Everyone's going to look at you that's looking at the sphere, and you're going to stick out. Okay, so the program has built-in booby traps to condemn you, to attack you, to judge you, to hurt you, to shame you, to guilt you, to cause doubt in your heart about what you're feeling, to give you insecurities about what you're doing. Okay. And you have 100 memories in your soul of being killed and crucified and beheaded, probably, from getting too close to the edge of this template. And so this is where, right, I'm always talking about the echo effect. If you get too far away from the template design and you haven't purified your soul, right, your own soul's program will create an experience through manifestation that matches punishment. Okay, like this is where every ounce of your self-sabotage is. So what happens to you when you shine? We call it finish line failure in quantum fitness, because there's so much trauma around getting to the end. And this is where procrastination comes from. It's not necessarily perfectionism. It's procrastination comes, I don't want to even try again and fail again. And so I'll wait till the last moment and give minimal effort. All right. This is where you're sabotaging. This is where you reject people before they can reject you. So a lot of the times when you start to feel that you're getting too close to your shine, your own soul will create a program or a situation. It will create a circumstance that will pull you down before you are seen. Okay. And because it doesn't know that you're a creator and that you're here to be seen, because it has been on this third dimensional reality for so long. All right, so let me ask you this. Now, that is one of our greatest woundings, is being persecuted, hurt, attacked, judged, ridiculed, shamed, guilted, whatever, resented. A lot of times when you share, when you shine, guys, people feel betrayed by you. Why? Because it's the template. And even though people want you to succeed, nobody wants you to actually leave. Okay? Because the second that you're in a relationship and you start to get higher and higher in the natural state of love, have you noticed that person will just start to flip on you and start acting like you're an abuser or your attacker or your humiliator? Okay, so this is the template. So the secondary one, I want you to look at the bottom where it says, when I fall, I am. When you fall from grace, okay, when you fall from the shine, when you were finally authentic and vulnerable in that relationship, when you finally put yourself out there, when you finally, wrote your book, what happens to you? Because everybody has a different experience here. But see, this is where our pride at the top is, because we have to fail. And that's what creates this big pride wall or the victim wall. Okay. And the secondary time you get pulled with a noose around your neck to stay in this matrix, because it's like this matrix doesn't want you to die, because your spirit is actually the fuel that is used on this lost soul template. Like, it's used to energize and fuel the template itself. So although they want you near dead on hundreds of different pills, watching TV all day because you're losing your energy, it doesn't necessarily want you to die unless your soul is all the way here, because they know you're going to come back to look for it. Okay. And so it's like, it'll keep you almost like a vegetable siphoning, because that relationship between that soul particle of you and the essence and memory of you is still you. It's just at its lowest, densest point, and you are at your highest point. It takes almost a whole lifetime to integrate back in. Okay. And then once you find it, unpacking the baggage, it's a journey. And that's what we are right now. Okay. So what happens to you? So this is what happens is you say, I'm stop living in my past. I'm going to create a brand new template. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to shine. I'm going to get out there. And you start to go up to the shine, but you haven't purified your program yet. You haven't integrated the program. So you're still more of the old you than you are the new you. And so as soon as you get too close to the edge, your own soul, like your soul tattles on you and pulls you back, because it thinks it's protecting you from death. It thinks it's protecting you. It's kind of like if you were in jail and your best buddy was like, you're like, I'm going to break out of here. And you're like, don't do it. You'll die. Like, that's your bestie. Okay. And that's your soul. So it's keeping you in the programs and the loops that it believes is actually keeping you safe, because, hey, at least you get 3 meals here, and you might be in a narcissistic relationship, but hey, no one's going to love you like they do. And yeah, the food's all poison, but hey, just don't make a noise. But there's there's people on this earth now, or I would say people, but there's consciousness on this planet now that is just like, you know what? I can't die. I'm immortal. I'm going for it. I'm going to integrate and purify my soul into the God consciousness that I am. And that is what the resurrection of the Christ means. New man, purified. This is the butterfly effect, you guys. This is the cocoon. So when I'm teaching you how to go in the Imagineering for 30 days and build the new template in silence, right? All of this is in the Bible. Go into the closet. The Bible says go into the closet when you're building this new template. You are not making it known. You are not venting. You are not sharing, because you're going to look like this. Okay. So you may put your head down and act like a sheep while you're building your new template, just like this. If you guys have ever built a new home, you have to live in your shitty house for a while. Okay. While you're building your new one. And for months, you can't even see that it's a house. And you pay 30 grand and all you got is a foundation. It's going to take a while. So if you're building a new template, you guys, and you're spending your time Imagineering, then you're getting this new discipleship with the God consciousness in you. and you're beginning to be led by the source energy within you versus the soul program within you. Think about what leads you through the day. What leads you? What motivates you? Is it what's comfortable, or is it what's courageous and new? Right? If you're following me, you're probably doing a little bit of both, but the pressure is on you guys because the world is integrating very quickly. It's like the 100 monkey effect works with the God consciousness, but it also works with the lost soul consciousness, which is the more souls are being enslaved day by day by day by day, but more spirits are also waking up to this. So it's getting very big game. It's like the major leagues. It's the transition point, because now it is time for us as a collective to build a new template that is heaven, while we build our individual templates of the kingdom of heaven within, right? So yes, there is hell, and then there's your reality that you could consider hell. That's your template here. But you can build this new template, which, you guys, is actually easier if you just go all the way. If you do 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it's going to feel like mental warfare and civil war. This is what I'm saying. If you have not like started diving into Imagineering, you as the engineer, you as creator, like in your private time, living, breathing, doing, feeling in there, then what is going to feel familiar, family, is going to be what's in your soul. And that's what's going to excite you. This is why when I get people to finally sign up for some sort of coaching with me, they usually go through terrified experience for 24 hours, because their soul knows that this isn't going to just be more loss of money and more of the, spiritual rabbit hole. Like, I'm showing you the way out, and I'm showing you how to do it through you. So you are 100% divinely protected. Like, no one's going to see you ever, because you're not going to go, hey, 3D, look how shiny I am. You're actually going to bring all the shine in here, and then you're going to build your heart's desire over here, and you are going to free your soul in the meantime, and no one will even know you're gone, because the template that you're going to go create over there is you're going to create through the 3D printer that is your biological compound of a body. You're going to print out all your friends and family over here that are egoless with you. Yes, you are God. That is the power you have. So when you keep trying to make this better, that's like brushing your teeth while you're eating Oreos, guys. It's never going to work. And the traps here are in the box. First, before you become aware, your greatest trap is constantly reliving the past unconsciously and projecting it into the future, thinking that it's going to be different with hope. Okay, that is your biggest trap. Then when you wake up, your biggest trap is going to be when you shine and when you fall. Because when you shine and you get attacked and judged, it tells you from your subconscious programming that you are not safe to be seen and heard. You are not safe to shine. You will be hurt. You will be left alone. You will be rejected and abandoned. Okay, so that triggers that soul program. And when you fall, it's humiliation, it's guilt, it's shame programs that makes you feel worthless. And so here you are sitting here as a diamond, feeling like cubic zirconian. You feel like a fraud when you are the diamond. So guys, if you are in this loop, okay, and your biggest fear is being seen, you are saying yes to this template. If your biggest fear is feeling guilty when you don't do something wrong, or you're worried about something, you are 100% hypnotizing yourself with your soul in this loop. You see, subconscious loop is the template, because the lost souls are literally like the Walking Dead. Okay, so if you guys have ever seen that show, it's horrific. But the metaphor of it is that there's just this colony, or there's millions and millions and millions, like billions of people that are walking dead. And guess what? What do they eat? The brain, because that's where the Christ is. Okay, the Christ is within the pineal gland between the two hemispheres and the king and queen of your brain. That's the whole metaphor. And so when you see the sheep out here, it is literally just a subconscious program that I must eat and kill. I must eat and kill. And it's gore. But if you look at it, that's what this particular template of third dimensional reality is governed by, created out of, and managed through. Okay, because there is a God, the creator, that when you look up and when you look down at the graveyard, and this is why religion has you pray like this, because you're actually praying to the God of death. When you look up and your root is open and your heart chakra is open, you're bringing energy out. And when your heart chakra is closed and you're hiding, you're actually creating a vortex where you bring everyone's pain into you and it feels like your own. This is why everyone's posture looks like this. And so if you work with me, that's one of the first things we change, because you need to know how to truly prayer, which is act as if, live in your future desires. You have to, there's so much you have to do there, you guys, that it's not just like visualization in the morning and night. Okay. And I got to run because I have a private session. But I hope that this diagram shows you, first of all, I'm not showing you this to scare you. You guys already know this. But if you want out of here, notice how what traps you back to your comfort zone. You stay in the middle spiraling, thinking you're creating a new reality year after year after year. But every time you get too high and every time you get too low, you are brought back into the middle and you put in that spiral and you forget because you go to sleep under hypnosis and then you wake up with hope. And hope starts the whole process over again. We don't work with hope. We work with faith. And faith is not hoping that there's a God that's going to take care of us. Faith is walking in the God self 100% of the time. So hopefully this helped. And I will share this on YouTube for the class that cannot be live. I'm going to stop the video. Okay. Stop share. All right. End.